Aashish Pathak. Welcome to Tech and Beyond, the Blue Altair podcast series. AI, the artificial intelligence, is everywhere, helping us navigate or manage house or even take meeting notes. But what happens when things don't go as planned? So today, we'll deep dive more into some of the real life stories and understand the impact of AI in our daily lives. So today, I have Brajesh, who is joining me over here, who will help us understand the impact of AI in our lives.
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks for having me here. Uh, AI today is going to be there with us for decades now. We have to learn to live with it. It has been helpful to improve our productivity, efficiency, and also improve our lifestyle. But AI at the end of the day is a technology, and like any technology, it also has its downsides. And that's why we have to ensure that when we build AI applications, it is built responsibly. The most important focus should be on the safety of the use of AI based application. If not built with safety in mind, it can have a harmful and disastrous impact on the human beings.
Great points, Brajesh. I think responsible AI has many aspects. You mentioned one of the critical points, which is safety. We have seen in our lives Google Maps giving wrong directions leading to a death of a passenger, right? Which is a very, very critical incident. And if AI is making the decisions for us and then it is leading to a death of any passenger, that's very disastrous. So this is really a bad impact. And what do you think, Brajesh? Like, how we can make all these AI applications more safe for humanity?
Yeah, I mean, there are different considerations that we have to think through for making AI applications really safe for human beings. It starts right from identifying the use case where we figure out what we should implement using AI. That use case itself should benefit the mankind and should not be harmful. If AI is used for mass destructions, it's not an use case that should be built. The other aspect is about the data on which the AI is trained. If the data is not right in or is incorrect, for example, if we are using AI for any kind of medical diagnosis and the model which is used for training those AI applications helping in the diagnosis is not correct, it can lead to a wrong diagnosis of the patient, which can lead to the death. The third aspect is about testing the entire application with real time data and with different scenarios, and which is what, as you said, with the Google Maps example, right? Had it been trained on the real time data, probably it would not have led to that kind of a situation which led to the death of the passengers. Because it did not have the data, probably it gave wrong results, which led to the passenger going on a bridge which was left unconstructed. So these are the 3 4 things which you need to consider throughout the life cycle of AI solution development to ensure that the AI applications are built safely.
Uh, but what happens if we don't have a complete data? What would be the impact of it on overall AI application?
And good question. It can lead to a lot of things. So if the data is incomplete, it leads to a bias. For example, what we have seen, one of the e-commerce company who was using AI to select resumes of candidates was actually picking up resumes only of male candidates. And when they looked at their reason for this, it was found that the AI model was not sufficiently trained with data for female candidates. It's a bias which crept in while the model was trained with only data for male candidates. So, bias is one of the most common challenges which can happen if the data is incomplete. Another example that I can cite is like if if you don't have data for training your medical AI model, and if it is not trained with data of all ethnicity and race, then also it can possibly not give you the right outcome. So that's another thing. It's not an intended thing, but it can happen, which has to be looked at. So while training these AI models with data, we need to look at all the parameters which are there to train these data, whether it is around age, gender, ethnicity, location, all the metadata around the data should be looked at, and the training data should be distributed fairly and equally across all these to ensure that the data is complete to cover all situations.
So, Brajesh, along with the biasness, you need a complete data to make your AI models unbiased so that it will give you the right results, right? But what if the data itself is incorrect? You have a lot of data, but then that is incorrect. That may lead to, again, the wrong outcome. So, according to you, what are the impacts and how can we mitigate it of the incorrect data when we are building the AI solution?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And so incorrect data, as we spoke earlier, can lead to incorrect diagnosis and treatment. If the AI models helping in the diagnosis and treatment are trained on incorrect data, can lead to possibly death of a patient or a wrong treatment leading to complication. Now, what happens if such things happen, right? There is going to be a lawsuit involved, right? So this brings in another aspect around regulations around AI, the laws around AI, to ensure that AI applications are not built with incorrect data. There has to be laws governing the development of AI application. European Union, for example, has got stricter laws in place. US is also drafting laws. Singapore is in the has drafted laws. India is they have drafted laws around data privacy, personal data protection. So there has to be laws around building AI applications. But then this lawmaking process is a long process because of the inherent bureaucracies involved. Whereas AI technology is evolving at a much faster pace. So the challenge is how do the law keep up with the evolving AI technology? Our bureaucrats and the lawmakers need to understand that they also need to act fast on this to ensure that we have the right laws governing the development of AI applications and protecting their citizens against the misuse and unsafe use of AI. So, Ashish, one of the principles of building and responsible AI application is about the accountability of the outcome of these applications. if the AI application leads to some kind of a mishap or a death of a person, who is accountable for that? Would you like to share your thoughts on this?
I think that's a important aspect again of building the responsible AI applications, right? As you rightly said, right? Accountability is something which needs to be inherent in the overall application development. We have seen many examples of it in our lives, right? So, as we spoke about earlier, Google Maps leading to a death of one of the passengers because of the incorrect directions. Similarly, we talked about the medical diagnosis, which is going wrong in case of a patient, leading to again, like, critical situation for that patient because the diagnosis itself was incorrect. And recently, we have also seen the self-drive cars are, like, causing some accidents because it was not probably trained on the right data. So, in case of accountability, in my opinion, it has to be shared. It lies with two aspects. One is data. The right source of data is very important. That basically gives the right outcome for the AI applications which we are relying on. And also the overall completeness of the data. If we have a complete data on which our AI models are being trained, then we may have the right outcomes, and then we don't have to really talk about the mishaps or also the accountability. So, therefore, I think the accountability is a shared responsibility between the AI applications being developed by the people, those who are developing it, at the same time, the data which is being sourced, the provider of the data. I think that's where the overall accountability lies when it comes to developing responsible AI applications.
Yeah, Ashish, data is the foundation of all AI application. That actually what is training the AI model. And data is collected from different sources in different ways. It could be we feeding the data or the AI applications taking the data on its own. For example, if you are talking to Siri or Alexa, it's listening to you and it is collecting your data, what you have been doing. And that data can be used differently or interpreted differently by the models, and which can lead to different implications. So when we are collecting data for any AI applications, quite a few factors which has to be considered. One of them is about the consent should be taken from the person who is giving the data or whose data is getting used. And when we are using data, the 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 data principal, who is the basically the provider of the data or whose data is getting used, they should be knowing where their data are used. So there has to be a transparency aspect involved in terms of using data for training the AI applications. Which data is getting used, how it is used, everything has to be, decided and consented most. So the another aspect that you need to look for to ensure the data is complete is to get real time feedback, because it is almost impossible for you to train data with all the data sets, some of which has to come when the application is getting used and feedback is generated out of it. And that data has to feed into your AI model to make it unbiased. So that's another aspect that we should look for to address the bias aspects in your AI model training.
That's a good point, Brajesh, that you brought up data. Data is very important when it comes to building responsible AI applications and safe applications. So when it comes to data, it's always talked about in the context of data privacy as well, which is again very important aspect of the data. So what do you think, Brajesh, when it comes to data and the data privacy, how AI can handle this
Very
aspect?
good question, Ashish. Data is the foundation of all AI applications. Without data, you cannot build any AI applications. And data is collected from different sources. It could be coming from documents, it could be coming from whatever you're speaking. These are just a few of the real world examples, and there's much more to explore. Let's work together to build smarter and more responsible AI solutions.
I hope you have enjoyed this conversation. Please follow Blue Altair and both of us on LinkedIn to understand more about how we solve the different AI challenges, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.